Physical fitness has really done well over the last few decades, hasn't it? We've been really concerned about our physical health and the way we look and what we eat. And this really happened in the 1940s. If you went for a run and you told someone, they might say, well, who are you running from? Life has really changed. But science came in and said, no, running's good for you. And then people started running. They started buying nice shoes. Shoes were made for runners. People started cycling more and seeing it as an exercise rather than as a means of transport. Things really changed. Gyms started growing up everywhere and people started weight training. Yoga studios exploded on the scene. And if you think about it as well, in the 1980s or the 1990s, I recall visiting my father and he'd be smoking in the boardroom. I remember taking a flight and he was smoking on the flight. Now, smoking is not accepted in social places because it is a health risk. Now we're going through a mental health revolution, a mindful revolution, where we know that we can do something for our brains. You brushed your teeth this morning, right? Yes, of course you did. You're doing something for your dental health. Well, you can do something for your mental health. And this is the mindful revolution that we are going on. We are waking up out of the dark ages of not understanding how our brains work. But now we know that if we do something every day, it's like taking our brain to the gym. And there's nothing more important than having mental fitness.
We've all learned to be really mindful of our hands. We wash our hands now more than ever. We sanitize our hands. We are careful where we put our hands. We try not to touch our face, to touch surfaces. If we go to the mall, we try not to touch the railing of the escalator or the staircase. And this is mindfulness, really, using our mindfulness to keep us safe and keep us well. Mindfulness brings us into the moment. What are we actually doing? And helps us to be less on autopilot. We can find ourselves often during the day flying off into an unknown future or visiting a past where we feel longing or regret. And how do we feel if we go off into the future? Most people tell me they feel a sense of anxiety. Our ability to focus and to stay present is a power of our mental fitness. As George Lucas says, your focus determines your reality. So what is your reality? What is our reality? What are we focusing on? And when we are worrying about a future that hasn't happened, it is a survival mechanism that's inbuilt in us. For thousands and thousands of years of hunting and gathering, of remembering that particular terrain, there was a wild beast that could have taken my life. I have a memory. I recall that memory. I play it over and over and over and over again about what I did or what worked, what didn't work, what I could have done differently. And then going into that terrain, I think about what I could expect. It served us well as a human race, this anxiety, this rumination, and it kept us alive. But in this modern day culture, is it really serving us that well? The prevalence of ill mental health is skyrocketing, and on the back of the pandemic, we're trying to flatten the stress curve more and more to bring ourselves into this moment where it's happy and calm and peaceful, but yet we fly off again like time travelers into the future and the past. We don't have to fear as much as we used to as hunter-gatherers. But yet we do. We have the same stress responses over small things. We don't have to fight for our survival as we used to. We can live a better life. We can live a happier existence in the now by being present. We are able to take the next leap in our evolution, to really feel what happiness could look like, to feel like. It's exciting times.
Our modern day living is hurting our minds. Our ancestors never had so many constant digital distractions. Mental health illness is nearly half of the world's population will experience ill mental health at some stage of their lives. And all of these conditions are dramatically increased, such as anxiety, bipolar disorder, burnout, depression, substance abuse, obsessive compulsive disorders, sleeping disorders, abusive disorders. Our self-care routines, when we often take breaks from work, might consist of social media and watching the news, binge watching TV. And you know, the social media is designed to keep us entertained and stimulated. The little dopamine highs of likes and feeds of nice things that we love. Dopamine, a feel-good chemical that is released for these things. And we get addicted. We really are addicted to dopamine. Gloria Mark from the University of California says that our attention is dying. That 2 hours of every day we are in distraction or recovering from distraction, with every 11 minutes being distracted. Ellen Langer from Harvard University says that we are on autopilot for 47% of our day, that we are traveling into the future and into the past. And we find it very difficult to be here in the present moment. Ellen Langer goes on to say that much of our suffering is because we struggle to be present. We struggle to be in the moment. Things are good here, in the here and now. They're okay. But if we're living on autopilot, these distractions are our new mental health threat. As our attention spans deteriorate, so does our mental wellness. Meta-attention versus subjective mind. Meta-awareness is our ability to watch our mind move, and then we encourage our attention to return. Come back, attention, like a little puppy dog. And this is the active ingredient that actually increases the prefrontal cortex. Yes, it grows your brain. So the functions of our of our prefrontal cortex, our executive functions are attention, motivation, working memory, reasoning, overcoming ingrained behavior patterns, dealing with novel situations, decision making, big one, error correction, troubleshooting, task flexibility, planning, execution, flexibility of thinking, concept formation, abstract thinking, creativity. These are what make us human beings. And I've noticed in my work on brain damage patients how these functions are lacking or just don't work anymore. My sister is a neuro-occupational therapy, and she has clients with head injuries where these functions are impaired, and it's obvious.